Alright, so my name is Danielle Redman, and I'm going to be doing the Dorothy Day informative speech. Alright, the biggest challenge of the day is how to bring about a revolution of the heart, a revolution that has to start within each one of us. This is a quote that I like to live by. Some background on myself is that when I was a college student, when I was your age, I was a bright student. I really was. And I was always involved in literacy and more liberal crowds, to where I then eventually actually became a journalist, where I wrote several socialist and progressive publications. Though my deep-rooted need for involvement ended up stirring the pot. I had some negative ramifications because I had felt very strongly about certain things. For instance, I was actually arrested several times for my involvement in protests. But I can stand here and say that I don't regret for standing up for what I believe in. Then when it continued to come to my personal life, I actually went through an abortion, I went through a divorce. I do have a kid now, but I ended up having that child while I was out of wedlock. And when you hear this, it might seem like the norm. It's not that bad to get a divorce. It's not that bad to have a kid if you aren't married. But I like to live my life aligned with the Catholic faith. So these actions don't necessarily align with that. I may be looked down upon because of my personal life. So the Catholic faith really came into my life in 1927, and that's when I converted because I was just always intrigued by the Catholic faith. Growing up, I always wanted to learn more about it. I actually took a really deep involvement in it. As I mentioned, I always like to really get involved with what I believe in, and I created the Catholic Worker. So the Catholic Worker is a newspaper that promotes the Catholic teachings that became very successful and actually spawned a Catholic worker movement. The Catholic worker principles do stem from the religion but also take on issues of social justice and things like that. I have established special homes for those in need. The Catholic worker movement really likes to put a strong emphasis on special homes helping out people that are less fortunate than us. From now on, I'm spending the rest of my life continuing to live by that adopted faith. So this movement really created an emphasis on some strong values that I think everyone can continue to benefit from, and you as a person will thrive in the future. So today, where we're at right now is that I have branched this movement across 200 communities in the U.S. and also 28 abroad. My goal is to push this topic towards several novels, films, really get the word out there in all areas so that it will never be forgotten. I really want to not be remembered for the strong emphasis on these values, these important things that I believe in, but I want people to remember how important they actually are. I hope that my work my work in activism and also my commitment to my faith really can almost shape me as a role model for you college students. So now, I would like to say that it is in your hands to keep this tradition alive. I think it's really, really important to keep the Catholic worker movement at your forefront, and it's up to you guys to really stay committed to that. The communities that I've created will only continue to last if they keep strong certain values in mind. For instance, nonviolence, voluntary poverty, prayer, hospitality, as I mentioned before. It's always important to help out those in need, create homes for not just the homeless, but the ill, the hungry, even the forsaken. This would be an obvious benefit because we can admit that our country really has lacked some of these values recently. If more people chose to abide by them, then our communities would not only have a stronger emphasis on the Catholic faith, but it would also allow them to make just better decisions overall. So my advice is to always continue to protest what you believe in, whether it's injustice, war, racism, violence in all forms. This obviously would be another benefit because it's sad to admit, but our country, I feel like, is going through a time where these things are at our forefront. You know, we're always in a war. We still struggle with racism. Violence is occurring every single day. It has become a normality in the U.S. So by protesting these things, it will only benefit. So if people were to adopt the values that stem from this Catholic worker movement, then it would benefit the quality of not only your inner selves, but positively impact everybody else around you. As I mentioned, keep this quote in mind. The biggest challenge of the day is how to bring about a revolution of the heart, a revolution that has to start within each of us. The revolution starts within you. Thank you.